Oh, shit. Sorry. I spilled my coffee. None of it got out, though. That would have been a very sad day. Hello, my name is JL Johnson, and today I'm going to talk about my new album that came out on August 1st called Funeral Music. So I'm going to give a backstory about the album since you guys asked me a little bit about it and just kind of explain the songs. So this album, the beginning of it kind of took place in, the first song was written in the summer of 2018. I started writing all the other songs in the winter of 2019. It's been a long process. I finally got serious about it and started recording all of it and producing all of it in April of this year. Finished it up in June and it came out August 1st. The first song of the album is called Afternoon in Paris, and it's a really good intro song. It's kind of inspired by like the 60s, 50s, like breakfast at Tiffany's, sitting at a cafe in Paris. Not that I know anything about that, I've never been to Paris. The song's kind of about how weird it is in this day and age that we meet people on the internet. So I was talking to this guy for a while on the internet, and I was like, I met him on Instagram. He seemed amazing, but I wrote a song about it kind of inspired by that, of like, how weird is it that we talk to people on the internet and we don't know anything about them, and they could be like a afternoon in Paris, just like amazing and perfect, or they could be a serial killer, because you're always taking that gamble. I tell ya, I've been on a lot of dates that I've met people on the internet. Some of them are weirdos. That is my advice. Always Google the men you meet, or the women, men and women. Always Google them before you go out with them. So the next song on the album is called Chicago. It was the one I did a single for. This one is kind of just about, it's kind of like a party song, like just not very deep, I guess. It's about, you know, going downtown and meeting a guy and dancing and just, I don't know, it's just like a party song. There's not a lot of depth to it, but it's a fun song. I really like this one. I think it was different than what I usually wrote. That inspired the rest of the tracks to where some of them are a lot more just like happy, feel good, rather than like I want to die songs, even though we have some of those on here too. The next song, it's called Pretty in Pink, and this one is my favorite, one of my favorites on the album. This one, as are most of the songs, was very inspired by movies. So obviously Pretty in Pink, Molly Ringwald, is kind of the 80s era of like rom-coms and coming of age films. So this one was kind of inspired by that, of just like what it feels like to fall in love in like high school or when you're young. And kind of, it's like a very nostalgic song of, it kind of brings you back to a place in your life when you hear it. So it just gives you kind of, yeah, just very nostalgic, but it was very much inspired by, you know, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, just the Molly Ringwald series. I like that kind of stuff. I think it brings you back to a feeling, no matter how old you are or how young you are. It takes you back to a place in your life. The next one is called Virgo Baby. This one I wasn't originally going to put on the album just because it's so different. It's much more R&B. It was kind of an experimental song that I just wrote one day like in my apartment, and I was kind of just messing around. But one of my best friends, she listened to the song and she's like, you have to put this on the album. So I almost didn't make the cut. I was really in a bad place when I wrote this. I just kind of felt like rock bottom would be the best term. I was broke in Missoula. I was living in a studio apartment that didn't even have a bathroom. I had just been dumped. So it was just like one thing after another. And so this kind of just wraps up literally everything I was feeling when I was writing it, and I just kept writing. And so it's kind of a chaotic song, but it really works all together because it was just what I was going through, is what I was feeling at the moment. So it didn't really have to make sense to anyone else because I didn't really think that it would be released. But a lot of people really liked it. It's one of the songs that has like a tension of darkness. A lot of the songs have, there's like this constant tension in this album of like harsh songs and things that are a little bit more heavy and dark, like funeral music, like Chicago, like Virgo Baby, that kind of depict this like independent, I'll do what I want, kind of bad bitch persona. And then a lot of my other songs kind of have a sensitive, sweet side that's very emotional, like Pretty in Pink, Afternoon in Paris, Salt Lake City, Trying Too Hard. All of those are much more softer. So I kind of wanted to create this tension because at that time, and I think everyone feels this, is that there's a tension inside them that kind of represents like a darkness and a lightness, and you feel like you're constantly struggling between two people. At least I hope that's normal, because that is my everyday living. So, might need to go to counseling if it's not. So yeah, Virgo Baby was just one of those things where I'm just like, I'm gonna write until I feel better. And I came out with a pretty cool song. It was very different, and I was really excited to put it out on the album because I didn't think anyone would like it, but my best friend is one of my toughest critics, so if she liked it, I was like, okay, it's going on the album. Thank you, Sierra. The next one we have is Funeral Music, which is the title track, obviously. This one kind of represents, you know, the tension that I was talking about, where it's kind of like falling in love with someone or wanting someone, I guess, that's not good for you, and kind of giving into the toxicity that a relationship is, which I don't suggest. I don't think that's good, but it was a good song to write because I think it's relatable to a lot of people, where you're just kind of like, well, screw it, I'm gonna just go for it. You should, you know, we should be together, whether this is gonna be good for us or not. And also, I knew that I wanted to have the title track be Funeral Music because a lot of, I have had people actually not let me play certain places in, you know, where I live, because they told me my music is sad and it's like funeral music. So I was like, well, I might as well just name my album that. So I picked out the name before I even wrote the song. So I'm happy it kind of worked out that way. So the second to last song on this album is called Trying Too Hard. And this is the most emotional and I think raw song that I have. When I wrote this, I had just gone through a breakup, and it was kind of like not my doing. I didn't want to break up, they did. And so it's kind of this feeling of like still wanting someone even though they don't want you, and feeling scared to even say something like about it. And like one of my favorite lines in this is, you know, I know feelings are fatal, but I feel like dying tonight. And I'm like, you know, you just want to be with that person so badly, even if it doesn't, if it means that it's just, you know, it's going to hurt you in the end. So that one's kind of what Trying Too Hard is about. And that was really tough, and I think it kind of portrays well in the song. I really like that song, and that was one of my favorites to write, I think, because it just came out so honest. The last song on the album is called SLC, which stands for Salt Lake City, by the way. This one is kind of reminiscent of a relationship I had when I was like 16 or 17. It was very off and on, and it was kind of a summer fling. So basically it was just kind of reminiscent of a relationship, and you know, the chorus was like, please don't break my heart again, just wait until summer ends. Yeah, just about teen relationships and how they're kind of up and down, but you can still reflect fondly, even though it maybe wasn't the most emotionally stable thing in the world. You can still reflect fondly on them in the end. So that's kind of what Salt Lake City is about. But yeah, so I'm glad that I got to sit down and kind of explain some of my songs. I really hope you guys like the album. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. It's under JL Johnson on all streaming platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, whatever. Thank you so much for supporting me. I'll probably do some more videos like this, kind of just to get to know me as a person, rather just like than putting my music out there. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will see you later.